Welcome back. This Sunday, it's NFL Week 2, but a lot of attention will still be focused on the sidelines and a second-string quarterback who refuses to stand during the national anthem. Ed Berliner reviews where things stand now.
Whitney Houston, Super Bowl 25 in Tampa, Florida. The rendition everyone points to as the most stirring and patriotic of all time. But the national anthem has become much more in recent weeks. It has become a rallying cry for those who seek to point out injustice, a rallying cry for those who see those not standing for its playing as being unpatriotic and disrespectful. No matter where you stand or kneel on this issue, the actions taken by athletes is forcing a conversation, one that took on a different slant when President Obama's pre-taped message about honoring the memory of 9/11 was played this past Sunday. And at a number of NFL stadiums across the country, people were booing the president, forcing a discussion about hypocrisy.
If today is about unity and resolve, why are you booing the president? Why are you booing the president? Oh, that's right. You're voicing your First Amendment right. That's how it goes.
Here is the issue then America is grappling with almost a week later. Is this disrespectful?
We need to get back to teaching our young people about what our country is all about and appreciating the freedoms we have because of that.
Or is it the right of every American to express their opinion as they see fit?
I don't have to agree with him, but I'll still respect his right to do it. And everyone should respect that. He shouldn't be booed.
Next up, will the NFL step in and tell athletes the field of play is for that only? And keep your opinions to yourself. JD, your turn.
Thanks, Ed. Now let's discuss it with Dan Gainor, Vice President of Business and Culture at the Media Research Center. Dan, as always, we thank you for your time here on Newsmax Prime. And when it comes to covering important issues to voters, the networks seem to fumble. For example, your organization found that the entire economic situation got less time in an entire month than the uproar over a football player's anthem protest. How much time?
When this all started, this was just Colin Kaepernick refusing to stand for the anthem during a preseason game. So a backup player, a player who's several years away from his Super Bowl appearance, a player who had lost his job to Blaine Gabbert, which is really not saying much for your career, a player who was basically making a solo protest while earning $19 million. There was not a lot of support for it. The media hyped it enough to help give it traction. Meanwhile, the number one issue in America for voters is the economy. It got slightly more than 6 minutes coverage during the month, so less than Kaepernick got, and Kaepernick did it in only a couple days. Yet it was a month when both presidential candidates made, very essential economic speeches. You had both good economic news and jobs and bad economic news and GDP, and yet the media don't want to talk about it because if you say the economy's not really doing that great, then you're saying the status quo isn't that really great. And if you're saying that, that has political implications when you've got an outsider running for president.
Well, according to the latest Gallup survey, Americans' trust in the media is at an all-time low. Take a look at this. America's trust in the media dropped to 32%, an 8-point drop from last year. And hey, 40 ain't exactly great shakes. That doesn't usually win an election for you. Why is this distrust intensifying?
Well, because people understand. The cell phones, the video that we have now lets you find out things you never would have found. If we were reliant on the American media, we would have listened to them a couple weeks ago when they told us there was no Hillary Clinton health scare. Instead, it took citizen journalism, an ordinary person videotaping Hillary face planting at the 9/11 memorial to show that really really what we were told, that Hillary was slightly overheated, was a complete and utter lie. So people, we now have proof, not just the MRC, we've helped teach legions of people how to do it, but beyond that, now everybody can figure out for themselves with Facebook and Twitter just how biased some of these people are. And in this election, which is the most biased media election in American history, I think people are really disgusted with it.
And speaking of bias, of course, earlier today, Donald Trump revised just where he stood on the whole birther question with President Obama. But following the comments of Mr. Trump, several media outlets reacted. Let's listen to a parade of comments, and then we'll get your thoughts.
I'm going to ask our producers if they could actually time it out, because I just had to do it on the fly, not expecting it was going to be such a short comment, fully expecting he was going to wax a little more on it, maybe even say I was like Fonzie, or maybe say maybe say I'm sorry. We didn't get any of that. We didn't get any of that. We got 27 seconds of the guy was born in the U.S. Well, thanks. 8 years of being a president. It's nice to know he was a citizen and that he actually allied with the Constitution.
Donald Trump just wanted to get a lot of beautiful pictures of his hotel and go on a tour of his hotel, but he very clearly did not want to answer questions about the statement that he had just made.
Politically, this was a strong move for him. He went out there, he said it decisively, he did what people are calling for him to do.
The first two comments from CNN, some call it the Clinton News Network, the final comment courtesy of Fox News. But doesn't the dominant media culture appear, from what we've seen, to be in a full-on panic, desperately trying to work with the Democrats, trying to bring back this birther issue and use it against Donald Trump?
They were clearly furious. I think Jake Tapper referred to the media being rickrolled. And they were. Trump owned them. He for 20 minutes, he basically talked about Trump, had lots of veterans go up there talk about Trump, talked about his new hotel, and then he gave them what I think he said 27 seconds of what they wanted. But they wanted to beat up Trump. They've been trying for a month and not landing any punches ever since he recast his political lineup with Kellyanne Conway and the guy from Breitbart, etc. So now we're in a situation where even the media story from today is hurt, because right after the event, we find that James Asher used to be, DC bureau chief here, tweeting out that he was told by Sidney Blumenthal, a Hillary Clinton friend and ally, back in 2008, that this was the case. If you trace back what Morning Joe has said, what Asher has said, and others, the origin of this whole controversy doesn't come from Donald Trump. It comes from the Clintons. His only error was watching Morning Joe and learning from it there.
Well, it's a very, but let me ask you this, more about the Trump campaign. You take the numbers of the fact that 2/4 of the American people hold the leftist press in disdain, are ready to mock it. Does Trump, again, despite being a billionaire, does he become really the symbol of every man shaking their collective fist at the left, masquerading as objective journalist? 30 seconds to close out your comments, Dan.
Yeah, he has done something most Republicans are reluctant to do. He's continued to fight the press even into the campaign, and he's done it well. Today is probably the best coup against the modern press that anybody's ever accomplished. And they'll hate him for it, but they hated him anyhow. They're trying to kill his campaign. He's fighting them like they're the enemy they are.
Dan Gainor. And we should point out, we're not the media, we're Newsmax TV, and we thank you for your time tonight from the Media Research Center, Dan. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Now, coming up Monday on America Talks Live at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, campaign strategist Salvatore Lamastra and the president of the Crime Prevention Research Center, John Lott. That's coming up Monday on America Talks Live. Monday night right here on Newsmax Prime, Michael Reagan and Betsy McCoy, John Zogby, the great pollster, and YouTube sensations Diamond and Silk. Have a great weekend. Stay brave, stay free, stay tuned.